Welcome into the breakdown. It has been an incredibly difficult few days for the Pacifica and the rugby community as well, with the passing of two superstars of the game. But I guess the best way we can honour them is to talk about the legacy they have. All three of you have been able to play with them and against them, Jeff.
Friday, just a sad day. You know, waking up to the news, losing Va'aiga. A teammate of mine on my very early days with the All Blacks in 1993, played against him when he was playing for Auckland, and then to lose Joeli, later that day, just tragic. Two wonderful, beautiful people who you just, every time you saw them, you could always connect to. And JK, of course, Inga for you, just a teammate. When he put that smile on his face, you knew he was loving the game of rugby union.
Yeah, and I think that was I was devastated because I saw him 3 weeks ago in my neighbourhood, and I'd been talking to him, and then I saw him and I said, man, he looks so good, he'd lost 35 kilos, and that beautiful smile of his. I think the thing that he taught me the most was he came along, and we were all really serious, Mills, like back in those days, we'd get up on a Friday and we'd be fighting each other at training and trying to get up mentally. And he just did everything with a smile, He had this beautiful, beautiful nature about him. I mean, you didn't want to mark him, but he just had this beautiful nature afterwards. And, he's too young for him to die. And then obviously, hearing about Joey. And I never played with Joey, but I managed him. So, you, Mills?
Yeah, two great men, obviously. Kirsten, and like what you guys have mentioned, sad. Inga, for me, really was someone sort of I kind of looked up to as a youngster, and so inspirational in terms of Pacifica people and guys that were from the islands. Obviously, I was born in Samoa, but sort of an inspiration in terms of me wanting to become an All Black, because he was this islander that was playing for the All Blacks, and maybe I can aspire to one day do that. And I was really fortunate that he visited me down in the deep south of Invercargill. On a cold night, and to sort of now remember those sort of moments, and meeting him after I became an All Black, something special with Joey. Obviously got to play with him, and he was a legend, an absolute superstar of the game. And because I was a youngster, he used to always call me the young fella. So, young fella, come on, the young fella, come with me, stick with me. And I learned a lot on the field, but I also learned a lot off the field with Joeli. He'd always give me his $10 note and go, okay, go buy me a drink. And I'd go and buy him a rumbo. He said, you get one and I'll get the other, and I'll pay for it. But every time I used to go up, they used to come and say, this one's for Joey and your one's $5. So every time I sort of came back, I ended up a whole heap of cash. So I'll always remember Joey as a great man, and both of them, because as you mentioned, Jeff, beautiful, beautiful men.
Joey, I came back in 2000, and Gordon Hunter, another guy who left too early, you'd be close to Gordy, made me manager, and I got back. And back then the physical tests came in, the 5K run, and we didn't know that Joeli was unwell back then, just like we didn't know that Jonah was unwell. And so they're doing the 5K, and after 500 yards, Joey stops. Right, and starts walking. Everyone's starting to get into him, So anyway, he walked, and I went over to him and I held his hand and I said, Joey, if you win the sprint, mate, no one will give a shit. Excuse my language. And he went, you reckon, boss? I said, mate, no one will care, bro. Just go. Well, he was 118 kilos, and he did the 100 in about 10:09. And everyone's going, yeah, Joey, and he came away with that beautiful smile of his as well. And and he played that year with an illness, just so much courage.
That was my theory as well, to be fair. It was that if I was fast enough, I could get away with it. Like my first tour in 1993, like I turned 20 on the tour, and Inga was on that tour, and I'd only played against him that first year for Auckland, and I'd watched him in the All Black jersey, but it was a very, very special tour for me, and I only sort of worked this out later on in the tour. Sort of every 10 days, him and Ronnie Clark would come and have a chat to me and say, well, we're going out for dinner tonight, we're going to take you out. And I thought, they were just looking after the young fella. And so we'd go out and have a great meal together, and we'd come back to the hotel, and it was all, maybe a little bit quiet and a little bit, I'm sort of, where is everybody else? And I found out later on, it was the fact that everyone else was letting their hair down and blowing off a bit of steam. They were taking the 20-year-old out for dinner, him and Inga, and just making sure that I was all right. And I had no idea what was going on. I always wondered, and I wondered why the next day at training, everyone wasn't quite on top of their game, where they were protecting me. But they were the type of people they were. You know, they understood. For me, it was, you know, I was only 20 in Invercargill, like you say, Mills, and they cared. They cared about people, and that's what Inga was about. And Joeli, you know, there was very few people I was concerned about ever running around me. You know, the one thing I always felt is I had a bit of gas, but you just never knew if Joeli was really trying. And to your point, you know, I always overplayed him on the outside. You can beat me on the inside any day you like, but he was some sort of special player, just a unique talent. And like in some ways, like Jonah, we never, Mills, through the course, probably got to see the best of him long enough.
No, Mills, God's going to have an unbelievable season.
Oh, gee, I tell you what, he is. He is, isn't he? I mean, it's going to be great. But it's interesting, I mean, as a youngster growing up and sort of seeing them, and also in the environment, as soon as both of them, you know, stepped over that white chalk, they were ferocious. But off the field, they're
such gentlemen, right?
Such like you know, softies, and that's what I sort of couldn't get my head around in terms of, I suppose, growing up and seeing. You know, meeting Inga, and also, you know, being able to play with Joeli. Gee, I looked a whole lot better back in those days.
Look at that.
This is you. How old were you here, Mills?
I was 12.
You were 12 years old.
And he came to your home.
Yeah, my teacher at intermediate sort of, you know, they thought you know, Inga was on his book tour and down in Invercargill, and it'd be a good idea to bring him over. And so we were just waking up. And obviously you can see the eyes are a bit glary, but funny enough, I always wanted to dress like that from there on. The old jeans up and the bout. Probably do a little bit now still, but so awesome to see that. And as I said, as a Samoan-born kid growing up and seeing this guy, you know, play for the All Blacks, it made me as a proud Samoan want to do the same.
Incredibly sad and difficult time, but the stories are what makes you smile. Beautiful stories from all three of you, and I think this will make you smile as well.